Thank you very much, Carolina. I think it's a huge challenge for a researcher to compare all these studies in Europe. And we've heard interesting data from Germany, from Poland. And the European Commission is funding a project, EU Kids Online. They try to compare all these studies in Europe. That's a big effort. The coordinator of this project is Sonia Livingston from UK. And I think the European Commission is now preparing the Eurobarometer for the next round. It's a questionnaire all over Europe to collect data in internet use of young people. So I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Lukasz Wojtaszek, from the Nobody's Children Foundation. And you will see him later on because he will be the leader through this morning in the second part. Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you. Dzień dobry Państwu.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Łukasz Wojtaszek from the Nobody's Children Foundation. The foundation for the past 5 years has been involved in the issues of children's safety on the internet. And from the very beginning, our activities have been accompanied by different types of research carried out also with the support of the Gemius agency. In recent days, we have had 2 research projects. One has already been presented to you. I would also like to present the second one now with regard, or on a footnote to what we have listened to just now. We asked for this research to be carried out because we felt that the adult internet users were not really aware of the consequences of some of the activities that they were undertaking on the internet. They never were really, or they never usually are aware of the fact that certain of the actions that they undertake can lead to certain consequences. And for that reason, we ordered this research. And as you can see, indeed, adults are often not aware of the functioning of certain legal regulations, particularly when it comes to children's pornography. And here we would like to formulate this communique as part of this media campaign that indeed certain things are prohibited, banned, that there are legal consequences of certain activities, and that the effectiveness of the police can be or is definitely higher than the internet users may think. The voice of this research is also important in the fact that internet users are showing that certain actions on the internet should be persecuted, but they're not, that the police should have the possibility to apply entrapment. And this perhaps can also be seen as the strong voice of internet users in this whole discussion. Now let me move on to the second research project, which is related to the experiences of parents as far as provision of safety to children on the internet goes. This research has been completed just recently. I've only just yesterday received the final report. I will tell you, of course, what the main observations of this research have been. The research was carried out on a population of 500 parents. They were done by means of a telephone questionnaire. And by means of this method, we wanted to reach all parents, not only those parents who use the internet, hence the choice of this method. We asked the parents about how their children used the internet. It seems that one of the most important observations in this respect was at what age the child begins to use the internet, and we've asked about the independent use of the internet by the child, which would include situations when the child was with the internet alone. And it's important that in 14% of cases, children start using the internet at the age of 6 or even younger. There was also quite a big group of children who start using the internet at the age of 7 to 9. And if we were to sum up these 3 results, over 39% of children start using the internet before the age of 9. We further asked the parents about how they perceived the biggest threats lurking in the dark. Respondents were able to use or to choose three biggest threats. As you see, that the biggest threat perceived by children are the children's contacts with pornographic and violent content on the internet. Further on, providing access to private personal data by children and also making contacts online.
And these are the threats that we professionals, specialists, also see as the main threats. But what is surprising is that direct contact with people met online is not given such importance, is not seen as so much of a threat. Then we asked who parents believe is responsible for the internet safety of kids, and the great majority of parents believe that it is parents and guardians who are responsible to ensure the safety of kids online, and this is relevant and also promising in a sense, because one cannot but agree that it is primarily parents who are responsible for what kids do online. What is surprising is that only 16% of the parents said schools were an important player in ensuring safety. But kids do surf at school, and the school should be responsible for what kids do, and the educational role of schools is relevant, but it seems to be underestimated by parents. Since parents are aware that they are responsible for kids' safety, we asked them how ready they are to perform this function. Do parents believe they know enough to ensure the safety of kids online? Only 28% said that they definitely know enough, while a large number of parents believe that they rather have the knowledge, or they are rather sure that they have the necessary knowledge. The rest of the parents say that they do not have the necessary knowledge. Another thing we mentioned yesterday in the morning has to do with a situation where kids are more literate, more computer literate, are more fluent, more comfortable with the new media than parents are. We always try to tell parents that it shouldn't stop them from taking steps to ensure the safety of kids online, but it's still an important factor, and most parents believe they know less about the internet than their kids do, and only 30% of parents believe that they're better or more comfortable with the internet than their children are. Another question: did you ever talk to your kid about threats on the web? And only 10% of parents didn't raise the subject. What subjects do parents talk to their kids about? Well, sending private data, revealing private data, making friends, and exposure to dangerous content online. Then we also asked parents how they control the access of their kids to content, what they do, how they monitor their child's internet use. Well, first of all, they put the computer in a family room, for instance, so one of the main safety principles, and looking at the websites that their children access, and checking history, the internet history. Interestingly, filters were installed by one parent in 4, or by one household in 4 internet filters. Do you define the rules? Do you lay down the rules of internet use with your kids? 16% of the parents say that there are no rules on internet use in the household. If there are rules, they mainly have to do with the time spent online, the sites, the content the kid can browse, and how they can communicate online with other people. The last group of questions had to do with what parents felt about the dangerous situations that children encounter online, and we wanted to learn whether parents have a good take, whether parents know the necessary information. So we gave a couple of examples of dangerous content, and as we previously asked children what content they ran into, we could compare the two studies. So dangerous content, or 19% of the parents believed that their children had run into pornography, 22% of parents believed that their children had seen violence, and 13% believed their kids had seen racism, violence, and xenophobia, whereas if we ask the children, you get a slightly different picture. 71% of kids this was a study done by ourselves and by Gemius. 71% of kids ran into pornography, 51% into violence, and 28% of them had to do with racism, xenophobia. Then we asked parents about their online contacts, online relationships, and the threats that involve. Here, there's also a difference. Only 2% of the parents believe that their children were offered, asked to meet by someone online, or meeting people in the real world, while kids, in fact, 43% of them say that they did get a stranger asking them for a meeting. 19% of the children actually met somebody they met online, and 45% have been accosted by strangers online. And the age group, this was the 12 through 17 age group of kids. While we asked parents of children between the ages of 7 and 17, so there might be a differential, but still it doesn't alter the disparity between what parents believe and what children actually experience. And the last question had to do with cyberbullying, something that children often get from their peers. For example, uploading embarrassing content, vulgar name-calling, intimidation, ridicule, and intimidation and blackmail. According to parents, these are the figures, while based on the studies we conducted last year, it turns out that over 50% of kids say that they had at least once been the victim of cyberbullying. And if we broke it down into categories, we would see this picture. So you see that there is a significant gap between what parents believe and what children actually experience. That was a brief overview of this study. We have no time to get into details, and these studies are being conducted. We will be publishing a report on the study, and we will post it on our Dziecko w sieci in our professional section. And we will also publish this report on saferinternet.pl. Check out the websites. And one more piece of information: all these studies, all this research that we've done has been presented, described in a report on what we're doing to ensure to keep children and young people safe online. This was commissioned by TPSA, and there are CD-ROMs with the findings available at the registration desk. Anybody who's interested can pick up a disc at the registration desk.
Thank you very much, Lucas. I think he's also willing to answer questions in the coffee break if you have some questions concerning his data.